We are back in your life, and today are rising liquidations, a sign that the economy is broken. They are up year on year. Michael, if I was to describe what's happening in the New Zealand economy at the moment, I'd probably say it's like day 5 in Colombo on a dust bowl of a pitch.
Spinners.
I've got spinners at both ends. Yeah. I've gone like, surely at some point lunch or a drink is coming,
or a cloud, something.
Yeah, it's gonna make the conditions slightly better, but it just keeps fizzing out of their hands. Shane Warne, 2005, and I go, can I just get a bit of a break? Can I have the odd pie, a full toss that I can put into the stands? What do you think?
I'm going, nah. I'm shutting up shop. I'm going to block this one out, right?
Rahul
Dravid, the wall. I'm Rahul Dravid, the wall right now. I'm not spending any money. I'm not buying anything. I'm definitely not hiring people. Just a defensive play. I might even believe in the leave every now and then if you do get a seamer on.
Especially if it's outside leg, you just like put your pad out there.
I'm not even going with the pad. Just leave.
Dangerous.
No way you're fishing me into that.
Yeah. So
what we're here to talk about today is the best nicknames in cricket.
So business is hard at the moment, and coming back to the cricket analogy, you got to play to win, right? You got to get out there and attack the ball. Otherwise, you're going to get one with your name on it at some point. And these 3,000 businesses in New Zealand that have gone to liquidation over the past 12 months, they've had one that's got their name on it, and they're out, and they're done.
I don't think it's just like one ball that's got their name on it, though. Like, if we look at it, they're at a 15-year high. Liquidations are up 20% over the last 12 months. 3,000 companies have gone into liquidation. That is huge, right? But I don't think it's just one thing, right? You've got probably 5 years now of just back-to-back pretty tough conditions. And if you made a lot of money in 2021, you probably got a bit of cash in the bank to survive on. That'll keep you going for a while. But if you didn't make much money in 2021, like maybe you were in the tourism industry or something like that, it's been a long time since you've had a tailwind, right? So very tough to survive.
Hopefully those tourist businesses in the South Island, though, will definitely be doing a little bit better. I mean, if we look at it, Auckland remain the hardest hit region, account for over 50% of all national liquidations. Now, we've also got to remember where the population is.
Yeah.
Construction accounts for roughly 30% of all liquidations. Hospitality is up nearly 50% year on year. It's the same sectors showing up quarter after quarter.
Yeah, hospo's a hard game anyway. Like, razor thin margins. And the other thing as well, like, you're trading on being popular or fashionable or like a trend.
Have you thought about going to hospo?
Hey, I'm not sure I can trade on being popular.
But that's not Mike's Liberty Cafe.
No, but it is, right? It's like, it's a tough industry at the best of times.
Definitely.
Like, most of the time you're doing it for the love of the game anyway. And then, razor thin margins, it's hard to survive.
Well, they say like that businesses fail more often when there's something that people are more passionate about, like finance. When it comes to like gyms, fitness and food, have high levels of liquidations because people are more likely to get into it.
I actually, there's a website that I look at like pretty regularly, and they do the like liquidation auctions. And man, there is like, what I saw a BFT, a kitchen things, like there's just like constantly stuff going under at the moment. Great deals, by the way, if you do want to.
Do you know what we should do?
What?
Buy one of the what's it called? Storage units.
Yeah.
You know, you can buy a storage unit. You see those TV shows, buy a storage unit and see what's inside. We should do one of those.
What, for the podcast?
Yeah, why not?
What? What?
We might get some Pokemon cards.
Okay, it's a maybe. Yeah. Okay.
It's a maybe.
It's definitely an idea. I'm not sure if it's the idea. We always do. Yeah. Put James, it's a terrible idea in the comment section below if you want us to buy a storage unit.
Yeah, I got a lot of them. Hey, those deals on storage units.
Whatever. I'd be better. You know what is recession proof? The storage unit company. That would be a good buy. We should buy one of those.
Yeah. Just need some money. The question, I guess, Mike, is: are these businesses failures, or is the economy
Well,
failing.
technically, yes, the business are failures because they have failed. Is one of the symptoms of that the economy? Yeah, I'm sure for a lot of them it is the economy. With anything, there's good operators and bad operators, and some operators that are somewhere in the middle. But I would say that even the good operators are struggling at the moment. The economic conditions, mate, they're tough.
It is tough, isn't it? And it just doesn't get any better. And I bump into people and, they love to chew my ear off. They go, James, let me tell you about what I'm seeing at the moment. I'm like, hit me, mate. And they go, it sucks. And I feel like I've had a lot of those conversations. Maybe the back end of last year, like there was some optimisms and some green shoots. But I feel like most people I talk to at the moment are just like, it's hard.
But like at the end of the day, you're looking for an easy ball to hit. And we just haven't had a lot of them.
A juicy half volley.
Yeah, a juicy half volley. And we have not had a juicy half volley for a while. Arguably, there was like a bit of a slower ball when the government came out with their depreciation policies for capital purchases and businesses. So yeah, arguably that was something. But like,
sweet, we can save an extra $12 on these mics that we bought.
Yeah, but also like you've got to have the money to spend on capital investments.
Yeah.
You got to be a reasonably well-performing business to actually like benefit from that. I'm drowning, but if I buy more stuff, I'll save a bit of money.
We're laughing a little bit within this. It's definitely one of those situations where you like laugh instead of cry, I think.
Yeah.
You're right. Like you're getting close to going under. The government goes, great news. If you spend a bunch of money, you'll be able to claim back a little bit quicker. And they're like, I got
where's the work?
money.
Where's the work?
Yeah.
It'll give me the income. Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely need some like nice half volleys outside off stump. What were your as a kid growing up? Your BYC rules? How did you guys?
Well, easy 6 and out.
Yeah.
If there was 2 people playing, it's 1 hand, 1 bounce. It was just the 2 of us. It's not bat down. We're never playing bat down.
Do you have auto wiki?
Yeah, auto wiki. Yeah. I think it's probably about it. Oh, you smash a window, you run. Yep.
We're at the top of like a hill on the road, and obviously as the Blairs would be, and I reckon my cover drive skills weren't as good in games because nobody wanted to hit it down the road because then you'd have to like sprint down the hill, 50-50 chance to get hit by a car.
Yeah, actually, to be fair, our rule was basically if you smashed a window, it was the person's house it was who smashed the window. Whoever's house it was would just take the fall.
Yeah. Sorry, Mom.
Yeah. I don't think everyone's struggling like to an equal level. There's definitely some people who are doing well, some people who are doing okay, and some sectors of the economy that are definitely struggling a bit more. You kind of pointed them out, like construction and the hospitality industry. Different areas in the country aren't doing as bad. Like if you look at Christchurch, there's a lot going on down there, a lot happening in Queenstown as well. Some of the smaller regions are definitely feeling it. Northland especially.
Yeah. I want to do a roadie down to Christchurch, I know you've been a couple of times.
You want to do a roadie?
You want to drive? I want to get on a flight.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Have a little lads week.
We're doing a little lads week in Queenstown in a couple of weeks.
We are. I'm looking forward to it. But like, if there's any businesses or anybody that wants us to come and talk down Christchurch, Mike and I want an excuse to head down there, right?
Go on then.
Yeah, why not? See what happens. I think like the big thing, right, is a business can like absorb like a hit or two, but the problem is like you're facing Mike Tyson in the prime, and you just keep taking shots. And there's only so many shots.
I don't even think it's Mike Tyson. If we're going to get rolling with the sporting analogies, I think you're probably Floyd Mayweather. There's someone just peppering you constantly, right?
The jab.
And like very hard to hit back, right? He's just constantly rolling the shoulder over. And again, you look at like the number of cost increases in the economy, everything's going up. Petrol's going up. Raw goods are going up. Like everything is going up, right? So like you can absorb that, but eventually you have to pass that on to consumers. Consumers, even though we have inflation, what?
I'm just laughing because like consumers have no money.
But that's what I mean. Like eventually, like consumers aren't really spending heaps anyway. Yep. They're just going to spend less. That's not going to cure the inflation though, because the inflation is supply side, not demand side. So yeah, tricky spot for the economy.
Yeah, and I guess you go, well, we've got a right-leaning government. Budget comes out. There's been a few budgets since they've been elected. And like, I know we got to do this whole like, got to be responsible and not spend any money. But like, we need to get something rolling because people are, they're struggling out there.
Yeah. I'm not sure we do have to do the austerity to the level that we're doing it. I think and you got to remember that they're cutting back government spending, but government spending funnels through the private sector, right? So it's not the government that has machines to go out and build roads. It's not the government that goes out and builds a school. That money goes through the private sector. So when they cut back, it's, reasonably speaking, it's the private sector companies that are impacted. And that money trickles through the economy, right? A money multiplier. It will get spent and spent and spent. So yeah, I'm not sure we have to do the austerity thing to the degree that we're doing it to now.
And if we're talking about places that get hit hardest in the country, obviously like Wellington is probably the worst. There is a decent argument that everybody in Wellington should just vote red, regardless of your political opinion, to try and, because they will, hire some more people and spend some money to get that economy going. Because you got to go, in what scenario is Wellington going to get moving forward under the current government? And you go like, well, the economy would really have to be pumping to offset the reduced job headcount that's been promised into the future.
Yeah, I think you're right. There's an argument, though, that everyone should probably just vote Labour to get the economy going because they'll just spend money.
Yeah.
Tell me who over the next 10 years would be negatively impacted by a Labour government coming in and spending a ton of money.
I mean, it's interesting debate, Michael, and I definitely have some opinions, but I think in the sake of, obviously we've had Nicola Willis, we've had Chloe Swarbrick. We're going to get the Chris's on this podcast at some point. I don't want to tell people how to vote, so let's move on.
Yeah. One of the other things that is, not helping at the moment, although they kind of got to do it, is Inland Revenue cracking down on late tax, people not paying tax, tax arrears. That's definitely going to be hurting a lot of people because, you're always paying tax based on last year's profit. So if you spent the money and you don't have it, they're coming for you.
Tax. Be cool, ID. Stop
chill, Holmes. What do you need the money for?
You'll get it at some point. You get a lot of it. Yeah. It is interesting. You go like the government's taking more than like 50% of our money if you're on the top tax rate and GST, and you're like, I guess that's part of the money that they're getting and they want their money. But you're kind of like, surely there's enough money there to run a country.
Yeah. I don't think I don't think most people have issues with paying tax. It's the effectiveness of which their tax dollars are spent, which people have issues with. And
I agree with that.
Often, we talk about that guy on Insta who does the QS stuff. And he's like, even last night, I was watching one and it was like, there was one in Australia and it was $50,000 to replace a plaque. Like just like a plaque at like a train station or something because there was a spelling mistake in it. And I'm like, when you see that sort of thing, you go, that just like, it revs you up. I know that's an Australian example, but no doubt that happens here as well around like, I find it difficult to be like, I don't mind paying more tax because the money you got at the moment, you're really not spending that well.
It'd be interesting with some of the government's announcements around like hospitals and infrastructure to see how they go with their spend, the budget versus actuals.
So if you were the finance minister then, what would you do? What are you saying? What are the half volleys that you're lobbing up?
Something radically needs to change. And I understand that comes
more
with
public holidays.
I understand that comes with risk.
What would you radically change?
Tax. Tax incentives for business owners. For the lower tax bracket to, if you look at what percentage of actual tax dollars comes from the lower tax bracket, so they've got more disposable income, and how do we make this? I think there is an amazing argument to go bottom of the world, clean green is a huge advantage, and going, how do we attract amazing talent from probably a tax perspective to come to New Zealand and open our door. Because a lot of people want to come live here, man. It's just we make it pretty much impossible for them to come here. And don't get me wrong, I think the type of person we attract is really important, and you don't just like open the floodgates to everybody. But I think it has to be, because otherwise, like if it's not creating more disposable income to stimulate the economy, even if it's for a period of time, and getting more money into the country, what's the solution? Infrastructure? I mean, talk about infrastructure a lot.
Yeah, I think when you talk about tax, people have this idea in their head that the government takes the money that they get from their tax and they spend it, and that's how the government works. That's not how it works, right? Like the government and the RBNZ can create money to spend. Your tax, if you think about it like a car analogy, if monetary policy and fiscal policy are the accelerator, tax is the brake. Like that's the brake that they're putting on the economy. So if you take the brake off, the car will roll, right? It'll get going. And I think if people knew how the system worked a bit more, they would think about tax a little bit differently and actually go, we don't need so much tax on things. And if you think about, if people might be out there going like, he's an idiot, he doesn't know what he's talking about. If you think about that from an asset perspective, right? If we think about the capital gains tax on shares and a capital gains tax on property, because you don't have the tax on property, that's running, right? Like you've taken the brake off. As soon as you put the brake on and they're equal, you'll get a much more level playing field, right? And that's, if you think about it from a practical perspective like that, you kind of then start to understand how it works.
Yeah, and there's GST on GST on all goods and services if people have like more disposable income, fuel tax, alcohol, tobacco. They're still going to make money with the velocity of cash around the economy increasing.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, they're my ideas. I'm a simple guy, but that's all I got. Anything else?
I would take the low tax thresholds at the start of everyone's salary. So like the bottom, what is it, like 10 grand or something? I would shrink that right to the start of your life. So I wouldn't do it by dollar amount on an annual basis. I'd be like, cool, like your first 5 years of your working life or something are tax-free. I would take the KiwiSaver deposit thing out. You can't take your KiwiSaver out for a deposit on your first home. I would reduce... Why? All it does is bump up house prices.
Agreed.
It's ridiculous.
Agreed.
I would, what else would I do? I'd absolutely some proper tax incentives for small businesses, not large businesses, right? Like not multinationals, for small businesses, for one-man bands, two-man bands. I'd make it probably, I think it's a reasonably balanced at the moment between your ability to hire people and let people go. So I probably wouldn't change that too much. I think from a finance perspective, like a government perspective, that'd be initial things that I would start with. But after that, I would try and promote business in the economy. It's get out there. What is the foreign minister ever doing in this country? The foreign minister should never be in New Zealand. Should constantly be out there selling New Zealand to the rest of the world.
Work the globe, baby.
Yeah.
I agree with most of that. Do you think capital gains tax is good for the economy?
Yep. I'd smack a capital gains tax on property as well.
Property specifically.
I probably wouldn't do it on business. I would do it on property.
Yep. You don't want to make...
Because what I want is you're trying to direct capital into productive areas of the economy so that revenue and income kind of trickles through the economy, or that money multiplier is spinning. I just don't think property does that.
Yep. No, I agree. So... what we're saying is the government didn't do enough for businesses in the budget.
Nah, get creative, man. Like I've thought about this in the last 10 seconds, right? Like your job is to sit there and get creative about this. Like do something.
Nicky's like, of course you thought about this for 10 seconds, Michael.
Yeah,
He's like,
you're an
I
idiot.
give you all the reasons. There's a few different reasons. One is the risk of getting reelected increases by the day. Two is that, how long are you going to let this thing go on for? Like, do you reckon it's going to get any better this year?
Nah, not this year, but I think next year. I mean, and I'd love to if Nicola Willis is listening to me going, Mike, you're an idiot. Come on and tell me why I'm an idiot. Like, I'd love to get her back on, not to have a go at each other, but just to be like, here's what I think. Like, because when we talked to her, she was very interested in like how our sector is doing, what's going on, what do you find challenging in your sector? So like, I think she's definitely listening. I'd just be excited to know what they've got next.
Yeah, I know they're the Conservative Party. And it's easy to cut costs, but I think there needs to be at some point like a calculated roll of the dice.
Yep.
All right, we'll wrap it up. Let us know what you think of how it is to run a business in 2026. Make sure to like, review, subscribe. We'll catch you next time.
Oh, and to the guy in the YouTube comments who was like, you guys can't say anything until you run a business. We run a business. That's why we are saying things. Cheers.